Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome aboard the historic steamer Belle of Louisville. The Belle of Louisville is the oldest operating Western River-style steamboat left in America. Originally built in 1914 as a steamer out of Wild. Built in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania by the James Reese & Sons shipyard and built for the West Memphis Packet Company, where in 1914 she was sent to the Memphis Harbor to operate as a packet boat and a ferry boat. And on behalf of myself, Captain Mark Doty, and my crew, welcome aboard, sit back and enjoy your cruise. Thank you.
The Belle of Louisville is the most historic steamboat of the steamboat era. She is the oldest operating Mississippi-style steamboat in the world. The steamboat era was the beginning of the American Revolution. First time you could ever go downriver and bring cargo back rather than in a buggy and a wagon. So the steamboat was developed, and they were developed as the workhorses of the river. They literally took on cattle and barrels of whiskey and all kinds of goods and things, and they would bring them back upstream, and coming back upstream was never possible before. The Ohio River was a highway, the very best possible highway, because you had some automatic motion going down with the current, and then you had to fight your way back up the river. But there were no highways. There were maybe a few dirt roads around, but there was nothing connecting one part of the country to the other like there was the riverways. They would find little towns, Louisville being one of them, where they could port. They could work their wares and sell their wares, pick up the needed supplies, and go on to the next city. Every river city down from Pittsburgh down to New Orleans was developed because of the steamboat. There really wasn't much of Louisville back in the 1800s, and as steamboats stopped here, and this whole waterfront was full of steamboats that would stop and do their trade here, that's what made Louisville a city. The ship operates by steam, pure and simple. She's steam propelled. We have 4 firing engines that fire a diesel fuel, and the diesel heats the water in 3 big steam boilers back there, and the steam is transferred all through the ship down to the engine room. It runs the engines, and if you've seen the motion of the engine, the way it pushes that paddle wheel out and around, it propels that. Calliope is the music aboard a steamboat, and many steamboats are known by their calliopes. Ours is one of the few truly steam-operated calliopes left, with a full brass keyboard that no other steamboat has. And the keyboard on the calliope is about 2 octaves, and you play it very hard, and it goes up to steam pipes that make this beautiful music, and is played before every cruise that we go out on now, just to keep the history alive. Most steamboats had a life of 3 to 5 years for one reason or another. Some met terrible tragedies, just some wore out. So the Belle is a unique legend that she has lasted as long as she has. It was built in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania by the James Reese Company in 1914. She's always had a colorful past. I say she's reinvented herself like a rock star through nearly 100 years to stay a viable entity. She was strictly called what's a packet boat, which is a workhorse boat. When it came time for the trains to take over the Industrial Revolution, steamboats had to be outfitted with a new life. And this particular boat did both for a while. She made the upper decks for excursions, and she made the lower decks to continue to take packet to different cities. So she became an excursion packet boat. Well, during World War II, she was stationed here in Louisville, and she managed to move up and down the river, being fitted with knee tows that enabled her to push barges of oil for the military. And then at night, she would pull over and open up as a USO boat for all the sailors and soldiers and everyone to come and enjoy a dance on her. When she became an excursion boat, which she was during World War II, she became the Avalon. When she became the Avalon, she became a tramp. And that was a tramp steamer that would tramp from city to city play the calliope so people could hear from way afar that she was coming to town, and then they'd come down to the riverbank, take an excursion trip. Then they would tramp on to the next city. She got the distinction of being the most traveled steamboat in the world because she was gone through every major tributary up to Wisconsin, all through Iowa, down to New Orleans, up to Pittsburgh. The Avalon turned out to be her destruction. She traveled so far, so fast, so hard. She hit a bridge one time, it broke off her smokestacks. She didn't have the financial means of the restoration, and she was in very ill repair. That's where the Belle of Louisville came into play. She was put up on the auction block. First they were going to scrap her, and then they thought, no, let's put her on the auction block and see what we can do. And we at the time had a county judge who felt that Louisville needed to come back to its steamboat roots, and they thought what better thing than to operate the oldest steamboat out of Louisville, Kentucky. So they went to an auction in Cincinnati. They bought her for $34,000. They brought her home, gimping all the way, and she's now worth multi-million dollars. When I first came to Louisville, the first thing I ever recognized and fell in love with was the Belle. And I think if you ask any people, many people around Louisville, they'll ask you about the Belle. They'll tell you they love the Belle. They had their first prom here. They had the first kiss on the Belle. She's an icon for the city. She's a treasure. You don't see too many ads about Louisville where you don't see that big red paddle wheel going.
Thanks for coming, folks.